This first set is dead even.
Unbelievable combination.
Wow.
Beautifully done.
What a great spot. Hello and welcome to the 2025-26 APTA Tour. We're live from the Glenview Club in Gulf, Illinois, bringing you the 2025 Chicago Charities Grand Prix with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsor, Corient. Tournament support has also been provided by the following local sponsors: Illinois Bone and Joint Institute, Wintrust, Viking Athletics, CPTC, and CNSWPL. I'm Patty Hogan, along with one of Chicago's finest pros, person, everything, Denise Murphy, bringing you semifinal action from the Chicago Charities event featuring our number 2 seeded team of Flora Hanish and Anna Zubori up against our number 4 seeded team of Ellie Halbauer and Marie Matrka. Denise, welcome to the booth. This is going to be an amazing match, umpired by Dave Najedlik. Can you tell us about the players?
Yes, Patty, thank you for that. So nice of an introduction. Excited to call this match with you. All right, as we can see on our screen, and we want to thank Court Director for providing this information for us. We've got Ellie Halbauer and Marie Matrka, both from Cincinnati. You can see their PTIs, very good. I mean, Ellie with a 2.4 is pretty... obviously, this may be the stronger of the two, but they both bring so much, and I'm interested to see the combination of Halbauer and Matrka kind of bringing it together here in the semifinals of Chicago Charities. And then we have Florentina Hanish and Anna Maria Zubori, Flora from Watchung, New Jersey, and Anna Maria from Norwalk, Connecticut. So today, Patty, a lot of offense, a lot of athleticism. These two teams have never met each other because last year Halbauer played with Jackson and Matrka played with a number of different partners. So this matchup is unique, and at this point in both of their, well, all four of their careers, it's kind of rare to meet up in the semis of a Grand Prix with a team that you have not seen before. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a great 2 out of 3 set match with regular scoring here. And hey, Denise, why don't you go around the horn here? Tell us who's who, if you can figure it out, in the matching outfits.
Well, in the far court, in the ad side, which is to our right, it's Anna Zubori. She's, wearing the exact same outfit as her partner too. On her, on the deuce side, on the left side of the far screen, is Florentina Hanish. In the forecourt, wearing the black pants and green top, that's Marie Matrka, and hitting that backhand roller is Ellie Halbauer. In the pink top and black tights.
Right, and that won't be the last backhand roller we see.
No, it's, watching the quarters yesterday, I mean, Zubori and Hanish, they beat Cranon Herschel 0-1 in the quarters to get here to the semis, and Halbauer and Matrka beat Jackson and New Bay 3-0. But in that match against Jackson and New Bay, wow, Ellie just hitting so many low roller swinging volleys coming in, very impressive. So again, there's a lot of offense coming from all four of these players, and it's going to just be interesting how each team adjusts to be successful.
Yeah, on the team of Hanish and Zubori, 2-time national champs together. Mm-hmm. I mean, phenomenal team. They were number 3 in the country last year. Despite, and that's pretty amazing when you think about it, that they were number 3. They played, I think, in 6 finals. They won 2 events last year. They won Baltimore beating Lopez and Page, and they won Westchester beating Lopez and Page. Interestingly enough, their 4 other defeats in the finals of the events were to the number 1 team in the country, Burris and Elliott. So my point is, Denise, Hanish and Zubori, I mean, just one of the best teams in the last, years on the women's tour.
Yes.
Amazing talent. Played that epic match in the semis of the Philly Nationals where Page and Lopez pulled out one of the most remarkable matches most of it had ever seen.
Yes.
Just so, I mean, entertaining,
the
exceptional
3-setter.
high level of play.
Absolutely. I was lucky enough to call that with Guy, and it was the way it unfolded. For those of you, the viewers that did not see that match, what Hanish and Zubori did, they went into a new formation for about 2 sets where Zubori just played the net and was just a beast up there, taking absolutely everything she could get her paddle on. And Hanish was back just being her, the catch-all, just always just making sure any ball that got by Zubori at the net, she would hit a drive or a lob. So it was a very interesting match. They had to grind it out, and it was really effective to stop Lopez and Page's momentum in that second set, but they just weren't able to capitalize and finish in the third. So it's Hanish and Zubori just have a way, Patty, of just kind of continuing to raise the bar and bringing something new to the game every year, which to me just raises the whole level of play for all the players in the game. There's a lot of newbies coming in who are incredibly strong. Newbies, can't really call them newbies anymore, Patty, but a lot of talent, a lot of challenging partnerships out there. But you can never count Hanish and Zubori out.
Right, and they went to that, alignment out of pure necessity.
Yes.
They were getting defeated in that match in the semis of nationals, and they threw in the kitchen sink. They tried everything, and I think that's the big thing about practicing all different formations, Denise. When you're out there and you're coaching everybody in your camps, your league play, you've got to practice every possible formation because you never know, in a particular match what is going to be required of you as a team. And in that match, Zubori just took over. It was Zubori time, big time, and she played the front of the court.
Yes.
Hanish played the back of the court, and we had seen that formation from Hanish when she played with Annika Cooper. Annika's friend Juan Araya was a big fan of that formation for them, and then people knew how to play against it, so they went against it. And then, they didn't use it again, and then 2 years later, they needed it against Page and Lopez. Page and Lopez had never seen that before, and they had a period of adjustment before prevailing and earning a berth in the finals of nationals last year.
Absolutely. To your point, Patty, you never know how your opponent's going to react to a new formation, a new shot until you try it, or how they're going to react to pressure. So here we go.
Ellie Halbauer?
Yep.
Ellie Halbauer to start the match off serving to Flor Hanish, who just hit a beautiful forehand rip out of that deuce court.
It was a great pressure return. Hanish took that ball so early. Beautiful.
That's something Hanish has put a lot of time into, working on that drive. She was working on it a lot before in last year's nationals. She hit a couple times with Blake Anderson. Blake's going to be one of the co-chairs for the nationals out of New Jersey this year. Flor and Blake are friends, and Blake picked up on something on the live stream and said, "Hey, Flor, why don't you try this?" And so I expect a lot of earlier offense this season from Hanish and Zubori, because I think too much of the offensive load landed on Zubori last year, and teams figured out how to play against that. So I do look for Flor Hanish out of that deuce court to apply a little bit more pressure earlier on at some points this year.
It's a quick game. I loved how speaking of a lot of offense, how the very first return that Hanish hit was just like she stepped in, like we said, a solid pressure drive. And then Zubori, you never see her chip a little ball. She hit a probing drive, which made Halbauer miss as well. So it's interesting. It just goes to show you when you mix it up how you can really catch your opponents off guard. When they're expecting the big ball and you go off pace, that can be just as effective as hitting a hard one.
Yep, Anna Zubori starting off serving for her team, and with the fault over to Ellie Halbauer, who we will see in the deuce court in this match with Maria Matrka about to return out of that ad court.
Patty, I was talking to Matrka and Halbauer yesterday, and they were talking about kind of reviewing their day and the adjustments they had to make as a team. And one of the main adjustments is Matrka she is used to hunting and always actively trolling for that offense. And she realized very quickly that she needs to give Halbauer that middle because, she's like, okay, get after it with that backhand. Sometimes you have to think, okay, which weapon is going to hurt our opponent most, mine or yours? And she soon realized it's yours. So look for Halbauer to be very active in that middle with her big backhand.
You know, it kind of feels like this match could have a decent amount of service breaks to it because of the firepower all the women possess out there, Denise.
Absolutely. And, you know, like we mentioned before, these two teams have never played each other, so this is definitely that time in the match where both teams are kind of feeling each other out, seeing what choices they're making, just kind of finding their own rhythm. And then we'll probably be able to see a very clear pattern or strategy develop.
Oh, it's already there. You see, hit a
they're
lot of
going
balls
after.
from Matrka in the ad court and throw one over to Ellie every once in a while. Don't give her two in a row and see if they can't break down Matrka here. Wow.
That's a
what
phenomenal get by
great
Matrka. I mean, it was a great drop shot, but Matrka read that, anticipated it, read it early, and put on her wheels, and there you go.
Just had her paddle set down low. She knew exactly where she was going to hit it as she was running up. Denise, it wasn't a last-second decision.
Halbauer, did you see how she closed on that volley? Just
That's
moving.
going to be a key to this match.
Yes.
I think the volleys, because I think Matrka and Halbauer play a little bit off the net. I think I'll be fascinated to see how the volleys hold up, particularly the first volley. And I think this match is going to land on the paddle of Matrka. As you can see, she's well equipped to handle it, but we know what to expect from all the players. But I think it's going to come down to the volleying for Matrka and Halbauer. And Denise, when we were talking when we come on air, we always have fun where we pick a team and say, hey, why are they going to win? And we don't care. And we just toss a penny in the air. I landed heads up. I got Hanish Zubori today. Tails, you got Halbauer and Matrka. And we'll talk about why these teams are going to win this match, what the other team has to do. And Hanish Zubori, you know, when I got the heads up on that one, I was thinking, wow, the firepower that they have. You know, we think about Lopez and Page and their firepower, but Zubori and Hanish have so much of their own. And I just think the volleying skills of Matrka and Halbauer will possibly be the defining, you know, the difference in this match.
I totally agree. And so Halbauer, Matrka, when I got the flip side of that coin, Patty, what do I think they need to do to be victorious today? I think if they play within themselves and continue to make good decisions and they play at their own pace, I think they have I think they will be successful. But I totally agree. Their volleying, their proximity to the net, their ability to read the spins of Zubori on her overheads, those are all key components. Not trying to go for too much.
Come on.
You know, that one caught Matrka's shoulders back, which opened up the paddle face, and hence the long volley. So.
And right there, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the other thing that will impact them on volleying is their positioning at the net.
Yes.
Halbauer doesn't really go over, and as the player on the right of the two players at the net, she holds her paddle neutral, straight ahead, not committed to a backhand volley, so she plays a little bit over, and that will put Matrka over a little bit. So I think Zubori and Hanish, they're the ideal team to take advantage of maybe a lack of shifting with Halbauer and Matrka. Because Flor and Anna will they take what they'll hit some shots, and then they can recognize those openings and hit the ball at the right pace, speed, spin, to make that shot most of the time.
Interesting. Zubori's hitting a lot of probing drives. You don't see that very often from her. I actually really like it. Again, the more you can keep your opponents off balance, not, just guessing what is coming and being less predictable at this level, it's so important. Well, at any level, really. All right, Marie Matrka serving to Flor Hanish.
See Flor setting up. She's kind of looking for that backhand, and her forehand. You could see how she did a jump step to her left.
She did, to her left.
to
I love
create
that.
some space for the shot, but based on where she saw Matrka's toss. That's how smart she is out there. She's watching that from the very beginning. Based on the toss, she kind of anticipated where the ball was going to go.
Yeah, that's next level.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it goes back to being less reactive and anticipate more. Great team. I love how Zubori's not just totally trusts that Hanish is going to be there for her. Doesn't even try to go for that lower middle ball. Deferring to the team. Love that.
Halbauer and Matrka's strategy here, giving Zubori a ton of looks. That's going to be interesting to me if that works long term.
Great, I mean, just great lobs. You know, 2, 3 drives and then pop it right over your. They're always lobbing the person that they just drove to, which is typically the person that's going to be closest to the net. So that's going to create a lob that lands middle of no man's land is going to create a lot of imbalance in that overhead. Very smart strategy by Zubori.
And I think sometimes Zubori, when she returns serve, the more she's feeling it, you know, the looser she is. You'll see her unload with more topspin. But she's learned as a player, what's made her a great player is if she's not quite feeling it, to take something off the ball and just make sure you don't miss.
You know, to your point, Patty, about the volleys, Zubori and Hanish's drives are so spot on in their targets. Both Matrka and Halbauer flip to their forehands. I think that's going to be that potentially could be a weakness that they will expose, because I've seen there's already been 3 or 4 volleys where they're fighting to hit that forehand volley and kind of popping themselves back into the side in order to hit that, and have extracted a number of errors as well. So.
Yep, I think paddle 101, if you believe in shifting, which I do, then that eliminates some of those forehand volleys where when you have 2 people going for the same ball, it's really hard to get depth and control on the volleys, where I feel like if someone's dialed in and they know they've got the volley, that, you know, the partner will yield to them in that moment, they're going to volley with much more purpose, depth. I mean, keep a low bouncing ball, make it a little tougher for the baseline team.
It's a really smart play by Hanish right there. Number one, a great get, but again, not playing within herself, not trying to do too much with that. She caught herself. She kind of got turned around. Instead of trying to hit an offensive shot, she put up the lob and then extracted the surprise miss by Matrka.
You know, interestingly, in this match, it's so early, 2-1. Hanish Zubori up, obviously. But there were 2 loose errors by Matrka at the net. And that's going to be an interesting thing to me, because I think the match comes down to Matrka. And she's a wonderful player. I think the more exposure she gets on the national stage against, you know, the top teams, I feel like she'll be able to develop a game that will hang with anybody at all times. I feel like she's just has a tiny bit of inexperience still at this highest level. And this is where Zubori and Hanish, they're all over this. They've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years. And there's a big difference in that.
Yeah, you can't compare the amount of experience, especially in you know, this major spotlight of being in a semis or finals. There's not many players that have been in that large arena than Hanish and Zubori. But if we're playing the coin,
all the way back to 2017 when Hanish won nationals with Annika Cooper over Cruz and Anika, and then ever since then, you know, the game. That's where the game kind of transitioned. We had so many of these wonderful players come into it, and just with incredible trajectory in terms of they were phenomenal tennis players. That's their background. They get onto the paddle court, and people either get it, like the mentality of paddle and how you can play the game and reduce your risk, and you know, you give up some winners that you know you're used to hitting from a tennis court, but totally different. And Zubori and Hanish, just, you know, the cream of the crop in the women's game. One of our game's finest teams. You know, right now we got Paige and Lopez, number 2, and we have Burris and Elliott, 3-time national champs, and Macy has 4 national titles. But they're taking a break from playing together this year, so there are some openings in the field.
Absolutely. But I will say, if we're going to continue with the coin toss conversation with who we chose, it is early in the match, and I think I do feel that they're like Halbauer and Matrka are just getting their footing. They're figuring stuff out. You know, it's the semis of the first Grand Prix of the season, so there might be some jitters involved. I think they're going to settle in, and I think this is going to be a match.
Really good return of serve.
Great return.
Halbauer. But
Again,
it just looks like Matrka's a little bit out of sorts sometimes when those balls are coming to her kind of off-speed shots,
Yes.
not really high, where she doesn't have time to set her feet or her paddle. And she's fallen into that trap with a couple errors there.
Yep, she's... You can hear, you can see, when Matrka missed that, she's just, slow down, slow it down.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be that good. Just get that. That's a transition ball. You don't need to do anything more with that other than send that back to the middle and set yourself up in a neutral light.
And I love that advice. Put the ball in the middle. You have to know where you're going with it.
Yes.
While you're on your way up to that net. Otherwise, it just becomes pure reaction, and that's easy. Anybody can miss in that situation. Too much movement. Paddle, body, arms, legs, everything.
Yes. The more moving parts, the more things can go wrong, Patty. That's what I always think.
That's right.
You need a simple machine.
That's right. That's Halbauer serving here. She was broken in the first game of the match, so it's kind of a critical moment in this first set. There we saw a shift over from
that was better.
Halbauer, and right there, Zubori, Zubori hits that one of those first two drives in the middle there. That's where Matrka is really vulnerable right there, because she flips that paddle over to the forehand rather than going to her right and making it a backhand volley. If that makes sense. I favor the backhand over the forehand just because I have a greater range of motion. Someone my height needs that great range of motion. And when I'm in close, committing to that backhand volley, Denise, and not flipping my paddle over bodes well long-term in a match.
Yes. Well, it's just getting set. I always say shields up. If you've got laser beams coming at you from Hanish and Zubori, it requires, the level of difficulty just goes through the roof when the more movement you have with your paddle. If you're constantly flipping side to side as opposed to just getting that shield up with your backhand volley and just redirecting their pace. But that requires, to your point, Patty, them to shift in the right position to open up more of their left side, which leads to more backhand volleys, bottom line.
Yep. And they're having a good talk. I hope they're talking about the fact that if they want to hit to Floor's two-handed backhand, hit it to Floor's two-handed backhand. The middle is not safe with the range of Zubori. She just baits people in. She just hangs over there, hangs out, and, they dump some balls up the middle, and you just see Zubori swoop in. That's a problem. You do not want that to happen. So that middle panel is not safe with right there. You see the range of Zubori. They got to lose that shot.
Patty, I almost feel like it's better to hit, if they have no choice and can't hit it to Hanish over there, to just hit it to Zubori instead of allowing her to troll to the middle. All right, Patty, a little read from our amazing sponsor, Corient. Corient is excited to partner with the APTA because, whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they are already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corient.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA.
Yeah, so what you were saying right before that read for Corient is, I'm with you. You got to hit it to Hanish. The middle is not your spot. And take your poison with Hanish versus igniting Zubori. And they have ignited her now. Zubori Hanish up 4-1, semis of the Chicago Charities. The winner of this match will play against the winner of the Lopez Page, Morgan Sikora semifinal, which is taking place. Do we have a score on that match, Denise?
Do we have a score on that? That is a really good question because my phone is not open to Court Director.
Yeah, I can't quite see over there what the score is.
It is 6-0 Lopez Page.
Wow.
Yes, that is going quicker than Sikora and Morgan would like.
Wow.
Yeah. Speaking of Chicago Charities, Patty, this is the first, as we've already said, the first Grand Prix of the season. And guess who just walked in the booth is our very own Jason Love, who is running this amazing tournament. Was talking to him earlier, we have a total of 465 players. There are 10 different divisions. 82 courts are being used today, Patty, and there's 21 different sites. Clubs that have volunteered to give up not only their courts and their beautiful facilities, but also typically the different clubs have volunteers running the huts and keeping things in line. So I want to thank Jason, Andrew Buchholz, who's the director here at Glenview Golf Club, and all the volunteers and people behind the scenes making this amazing tournament so darn special for everybody.
Oh, it's one of everybody's favorite. I listened to the Cutters Rule podcast last week. It was an interview with Zubori and Hanish. It's a great one if you want to listen to it. Cutters Rule is a podcast. Sean Leonard is doing a great job bringing that in. We've been on some podcasts, some of the announcers, and Denise, get ready. You're going to make your podcast debut.
Whoa.
Sean has requested you on, where we're going to talk a lot about the women's game and the top women's teams after this Chicago event, now that some partnerships are kind of solidifying a little bit.
Wow, that was a big ball. I mean, it's hard to make Halbauer, react in that way. That was big. So Marie Matrka to serve. Anna Maria Zubori just returned. That was a great view for her crushing forehand return.
I got it.
I'd love. Patty,
I know what you're going to say, Coach Denise Murphy.
What am I going to say, Patty?
I think you're going to say, come on, I want Ellie Halbauer hitting some more of those overheads from that other position on the court. Is that what you were going to say, Coach?
Yes, I was thinking I wish they would yes, 100%. And I'd also love to see throwing in that lower trajectory, just making contact with that ball lower and sending it deep down the middle to Hanish's backhand.
We were talking about the overhead and its role in the women's game. And then I did listen to the podcast with Zubori and Hanish, and I think they were saying, it's not like the shot, where I think there's so many critical shots, but when you have that roller overhead, you can open up the court with it. As a women's paddle player, it is a phenomenal thing. And Halbauer can do that. I totally agree. I want more Ellie time here. And let's slot Matrka into a role and get her more comfortable here, because she's feeling a little uneasy out here, I think.
Yeah, she needs to see more balls, Halbauer. But I agree. I even though it's 20 degrees colder today than it was yesterday, it's about 43 now. Yesterday when I drove in, it was 63 and sunny. So big temperature change from yesterday to today. But still, it's all perspective. It's still very warm for paddle. So you need to embrace those temperatures and make them work for you. When you throw in that big roller, it just blows it up. It just, at the very least, it pulls somebody way out of position.
Right, and Denise, so much at the club level, when you watch a baseline team, they cover like a 6 foot square foot area, maybe 5.
Yes.
Where you got to get people out of their zones. I always, say, hey, there's Betty Blocker over in that ad-court corner, and she plays like 3 steps at all times in the match and gets away with it against a lot of opponents. But, when you have that open head, but you don't see that powerful overhead at the club level, it's hard for women to wind up and ignite if they don't have that upper body strength. They can't really hit a shot that then can open up the baseline for themselves. And just get the baseline team in a mad scramble.
That's true.
Halbauer, her overhead, her roller stays as low as any women's roller in the game.
Yes. And she's starting to pull it out more. I like when she's in this formation right here, when she's on the right-hand side, is essentially the overhead queen, because that roller, at the very least, neutralizes the point. It's very hard to bring any offense off the deck when you're hitting with the velocity, with the rotation she's hitting, the pace, the depth. I mean, Hanish is just kind of neutralized over there. just putting up some lobs.
Right.
Wow. See, there you go. She needs to keep doing that.
Yeah, that is the play. Here's the formula: a quarter cup of flour,
Yep.
vegetable oil,
And a whole lot of rollers.
and the Ellie overhead. That's all it takes.
What is that? Speaking of which, that's how she under one of her bios for Halbauer, she said she'll eat any dessert. So it's like, what
that's
dessert
right.
would that be? What recipe is this?
Oh, she said any dessert especially after she wins. She'll eat anything.
Yes.
So giant point for Matrka here to try to get a hold. Got an I formation. Ellie's kind of down there in the middle. Zubori took what they gave her. They gave her the lines. She just went straight down the line.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a great ball. Good get by Matrka.
But see, Matrka wasn't really filling the lane in the middle. She could have volleyed.
This is where Halbauer's the best, right here. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, Patty.
Oh, that's okay.
It's a great.
That's okay. Yeah, I just think the positioning a little bit is a little suspect with Halbauer and Matrka. And even Hanish came way out of that backside screen, came in the court, and that's a play that Matrka will defend. Like right there, she took the middle and moved to the middle. That's what she's got to look to do.
Yep.
And what's with that volley, Denise? Coach Denise, what would you tell her on that volley about her wrist?
Yeah, you need to, the wrist is a variable. It leads to inconsistency because it just changes the angle of the paddle face. So less is more up there. That is for sure. I'd love to see them actually get a little bit lower, shoulders forward, and be backhand ready, which I know it's not their style, but I think it would serve them well against these big balls. That's that critical seventh game, Patty. 4-3 feels a lot different than 5-2. So it'll be interesting to see what Matrka and Halbauer do here at this critical game that could determine the first set. And again, it's just first set. These are awesome stats provided by court director that just popped up on our screen. You could see it's points won, it's 57%. Hanish Zubori to a 43%. I mean, the biggest difference is service games won. Look at that, 0 of 4 for Halbauer Matrka.
Right.
So
it's all service breaks, and I think it's all volleys. It's all.
Yes, there's a lot of, yes. And you called that it literally in the very beginning of this match. Patty, you said that it would come down to positioning at the net and their volleys, and you're absolutely right. So the question is, can they correct that? Can they, A, have they identified that, and B, are they able to correct that?
Yeah, they've made some adjustments. They're playing more of, when they are at the net, playing more shots to Hanish and away from Zubori, which I think is the smart play.
Yep. So Patty, question for you.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Zubori's PTI, 0.6. How good is that?
Patty's, yours is 0.7, so yeah, I mean, for it to be a little bit better than yours is crazy.
In my dreams.
I was going to ask you, do you think Matrka and Halbauer have a better chance at the baseline against Zubori and Hanish or at the net? If they cleaned up their volleys.
If they cleaned up their volleys. See, the thing is, I don't know how good they are as a lobbing team. And right there, you see the price they paid. Zubori, just most amazing overhead, just wicked variety, and just hit that slash cutter thing that just stayed really down for a winner. So they're going to have to lob. I still think that the chance to win the match has to be cleaning up the net play.
Yep.
And the other thing I think is maybe consider sticking Halbauer over into that ad court for the second set. I just don't think she's getting any offense from the baseline, and I don't see that they have the ability to be creative enough with their shot selection against Zubori and Hanish to get her enough looks. So she could get over into that ad court and then just be like Zubori and take over the middle of court and just take more, shoulder the burden of more shot making out here in the second set.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, you don't know how an opponent's going to react until you show them a different look and see. So, I mean, if this ends up a 6-2 set, I don't see the downside in trying that. But Halbauer is best with her volleys when she just attacks them with her feet, and I'm not seeing that as much, especially on these off-pace balls. She has a solid base and she's balanced, which is great, but she's not moving towards those off-pace drives, which could then allow her to hit more of an offensive volley. Instead, she's sending it back, and then which leads to another drive. Zubori was just going for a little bit too much angle there from
You
the
mean
position
even a
she was in.
.6 misses?
Yes, every once in a blue moon, Patty. Once in a blue moon. Great return.
Yep, you could hear Hanish saying to Anna, please come back.
Yep.
Because she decided to stay back on that serve to Matrka.
That's a good ball. I like that spot just off Hanish's left hip, which kicks it, puts her in a spin cycle temporarily.
Big time shot. They got to remember that.
Yes. Oh, wow. That's unfortunate.
Wow. Big time.
But that's a
Big
great,
time
I
shot.
mean, to Hanish's point, her footwork was amazing. She held that paddle. Typically, the more you see, Patty, when, as you know, when players move for a ball and they're going to drive, their paddle they almost leave their paddle behind, and they have a huge backswing as a result. And Hanish did such a great job of staying compact on that. Wow, another net cord.
Yeah, and you see Hanish bringing it, when
I love
she's
it.
in these situations where, in the past I've seen a lot of lobs. She's definitely bringing the heat, got the let cord. I mean, you don't get a let cord winner unless you drive the ball. So.
Halbauer, I love it. The big high five with a smile after losing the first set. I love their energy and attitude.
Hey, Denise, we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel with live streaming by CSM Media and Streambox.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. I'm Patty Hogan, along with Chicago's finest Denise Murphy at the Glenview Club in Gulf, Illinois, with semifinal action from the Chicago Charities event. We have Hanish and Zubori won the first set over Halbauer. Matrka 6-2. It's just starting the second set off. Denise, what are your thoughts about those? That first set and just the volley errors from Matrka and Halbauer, which seemed to be the difference in the match.
Yeah, that's where Hanish and Zubori are extracting a lot of points from Halbauer and Matrka from their volleys. They're just missing They're looking for their forehand volley, and we talked about that. They're out of position as a result, but that's how they play. So for me, I think the difference in the way I saw them play yesterday, they normally attack their volleys with their feet. They see the ball and they're moving towards it. They're actively, especially Halbauer is normally like a lioness up there, just jumping on everything, and she's allowing that ball to come to her. Now, can you do that on the big drives, the big pressure drives where they're short in the court and the ball's coming Mach 5,000? No, but there's a lot of off-pace probing drives that she's not attacking with her feet. And if she did that, I think that could be, A, it would infuse a lot of energy on their part, B, a lot less errors. We got Anna Maria Zubori taking us out, serving in the second game for her team, and we have Ellie Halbauer returning in the deuce side.
So, Coach Murphy, I'll offer one more opinion only.
Yes.
Opinion, not an insight. It's just my opinion.
Yep.
My opinion is that Matrka and Halbauer, Matrka a little bit, hits more kind of, I see her hitting more tennis-style volleys a little bit, where she's catching it early. She uses a little bit of wrist on the shot, like almost stepping into it, where I think when you commit to backhands and more of a shifting system of play, it lets you hit much quieter volleys than you can kind of control the drives better when you're standing there and you're an equal opportunity volleyer. It works against people's drives who are not ranked number 3 in the world. I think they're only impacted by the drives from the top players. I think everybody in the game, probably below, out of the top 10 or something, they can volley any way they want, stand anywhere they want, and they're still going to win the match because they're superior athleticism and racket skills.
Yes.
But just in a matchup like this, you can see number 3 in the country, why they're phenomenal. Every fundamental part of the game is covered. You don't see that many loose errors until right there. And
Right.
I think that's Zubori's third unforced error in this match. I mean, they're playing a pretty clean match here.
Yeah, she just came under the ball a little bit too much. She's trying to get around it and came under it, and the ball was just a little bit out. So we'll see, Patty, how these adjustments. The real question is, what changes are Halbauer and Matrka going to make starting this second set?
Yeah, they're not going to switch sides, I don't think.
No.
So to me, I wrote down 2 things that I thought they had to do to win the second set. I think they could win the second set if Halbauer took control of the overheads more, and
Yes.
if Halbauer went over to that ad court. I just am so curious about her range over there.
But if you notice, Zubori's just so, and Hanish, whoever they drive, they lob right away, creating instant, they pull the player in to volley, and then they go over their head to create that more difficult off-balanced overhead, which is just such a solid strategy. It works at any level.
It works at every level.
Yes, yes. And even, perhaps,
Right, and Coach Murphy, I think it comes down to when you're coaching people, why do you drive? You drive to make them volley and move in, and that opens up the court for the lob. Why do you lob? To push a team back, to open up the court for your drive. It's paddle 101, but it takes a ton of discipline to execute it at the level that Hanish and Zubori do.
Yes. All right, so what the move Halbauer just had, she needs to do that all the time. That's where she's best. She needs to get her engine running. Right now, she's kind of, I almost feel like she's almost in like first gear. She's best when she throws that thing in the 5th gear and just starts creating chaos with her anticipation, with her movement, with her athleticism.
But here's the thing. When you have Zubori in that left position, right where Zubori is here, she can so easily isolate Halbauer. Take her, take all the shots over to Matrka. And then there's nothing Halbauer can do in that situation, quite honestly, because they're not giving her the looks. They're playing really smart.
Classic pick and stick, Patty.
Yes, look at that. I mean, beautiful two-handed backhand. The woman played on the Pro Tour. She turned pro at 15 or 16 out of Cincinnati. she's got racket skills, but she's got to have a ball to show off those racket skills.
Yep, I like how she finished in the blue right there. She moved through that ball. The different drive, it's pressure drive as opposed to just a regular drive. And again, when you're playing, a top team in the country for years and years and years, it's got to be a pressure drive that takes time away. Driving deep in the green just isn't going to touch these two. Mentioning Halbauer's professional, career, she was ranked number 260 in the country for singles and doubles. Well, actually, not country, world, which is pretty unbelievable. The skill set is incredible with all four of these players. There's a question on the line call, but it does stand. The ball was out. So Zubori serving to Halbauer. It is deuce in the second set. Chicago Charities, Glenview Golf Club. Woo-hoo.
How about those umpires? Get up in that high chair.
I know.
I mean, these guys do an amazing job all around the country, and it's such a vital part of this game. And, on this pro tour, you need pro umpires, and Dave's among the game's best up there. I think another thing that Matrka and Halbauer have to think about is how do you got to get some of these lobs to Hanish. You got to get Hanish doing this. Get her to bite on more and go up her line. Matrka has to get some lobs up the line to get the ball off of Zubori's paddle, because she's just totally controlling the match from the net when she's in this position right now, the left of the two players that we see from this angle.
Yeah, and by allowing Zubori to hit overhead after overhead, I mean, her angles, it's completely icing out Halbauer in the deuce side, as opposed to if Hanish gets the ball coming from the Turkish paddle on the ad side, she's more likely to go middle.
This is like a clinic in baseline play with Hanish and Zubori here, and I'm watching those bright red sneakers and the pink pants, and it just highlights their footwork. You see both those women the entire time the ball's in play. They're both resetting. They're both just like little jump step, reset, split step, always moving, and I think that enables them to create so many great looks for themselves as a team.
Yes, they're balanced, hitting almost every single shot, Patty, and it all comes down to footwork. A little bit too far out of her zone, but that was a great point played by all four players. Speaking of their footwork, Patty, I don't really see their feet. All I see is a blur of pink. I just see the blur because they never stop. It's almost like there's a special effect on that's happening here by CSM Media. That's just, wow, that's pretty. That's a classic cutter. That's Zubori's favorite shot.
And that's where the lobbing, really short lob to either Hanish or Zubori, and you're going to pay the price immediately. Yep, just heard Hanish say to Zubori right now. Zubori's a little bit of a loose game here mentally, I think.
Yep, but I love Hanish just taking a moment, collecting themselves as a team, probably reinforcing what we need to do and staying positive.
See how she went right back and looked her, and so that Zubori couldn't keep going.
Yep.
Hanish wanted to make sure Zubori had a second to think about this.
Very smart. Again, solid partnership. They know what each other needs at any given time. There you go. I like this lob. Well, that was. See, that's the lob we need to see more often. Just simply pulling Hanish back to the service line. That's it. Otherwise,
I don't mind that one all the way cross court to open up the middle, in a sense, of Zubori and Hanish. but they just, 90% of the shots over to Marie Matrka. She's doing a great job out of that ad court. Just, they don't, Zubori and Hanish are not feeling an offensive threat from Matrka at this point. So they just
Absolutely.
keep pegging the ball over there. That's a great lob. Unfortunately, it was out.
Yes.
So Denise, in Chicago, we had a little, boy, did it pour at 7:30 this morning.
It poured. And I just actually got word from our tournament director, Jason Love, that because of the impending weather, they are looking to move some of the men's matches up because it's supposed to be pouring. It's coming down cats and dogs later. So stay tuned for updated schedule for the men's matches going on later today.
Yep, women's finals, obviously, a bit later, and then all the action on the men's side, along with all these other tournaments going on underway. Jason Love, just a remarkable job handling everything. There's so much that goes into pulling off the Chicago Charities every year. I think this is the 57th year of the event. Phenomenal. Who's the charity they're raising money for this year, Denise? Did they tell you that? I wasn't sure. I haven't seen anything written about it this year.
I honestly haven't either. Hold on one second.
Okay, usually they have a great cause that is the beneficiary of this event. And
what I do know, Patty, is it's 3 or 4 local charities that they equally contribute to, which is just so special. I mean, we're not only out here enjoying the game we love, but we're making the difference in other people's lives, which is just feels good. So.
Talk about people who make a difference in other people's lives. What does Matrka do in her real life, Monday to Friday? Denise, who is this woman?
Who is this woman? She works at Eli Lilly as a medical science liaison in oncology, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. She holds a PhD in cancer and cell biology. She played tennis at Coastal Carolina College. So these are the type of people that make me feel a little bit inferior. What do? I teach battle. But anyway, so yeah, smart cookie. All of them. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, but it's really cool to learn more about these players and what they do and their background, and so that has to be a very gratifying, profession.
For sure. Marie's got that big tennis jump serve, Denise. You don't see many of those serves on tour.
No, you don't. I actually had a little jump serve when I was playing. I did.
Now you have a littler jump.
Not sure you would call it a jump, but anyway, yeah, great, amazing serve, and especially in these temperatures, that ball just kicks up so fast. So it's actually a tougher ball to time when the temperatures are warm-ish. It's funny. It was 63 yesterday. Now it's in the low 40s, so we think it's cold, but it's actually, when we're talking again in January, we're going to look back at these 43-degree days, Patty, and be like, wow, that was so warm. Series. It's all perspective.
All right, Hanish Zubori up 3-love in the second set here. They won the first set 6-2. The problems continued for Halbauer Matrka. Basically, they're struggling to hold serve in this match, and that's because of the firepower from Zubori Hanish, the threat of them being able to tee off any ball from the baseline all day. You're seeing a little of that formation with Hanish staying back on the baseline and Zubori at the net hitting a ton of overheads. Kind of an interesting strategy out here because they seem like they're isolating, most of the baseline, their overhead efforts toward that ad court where Matrka is and really isolating Halbauer out of this match. They're just not giving her any easy looks.
No. I mean, I would almost like this. I know it's going to sound a little crazy, but I would almost love to see when Halbauer comes in to almost play the same position that Zubori does. where just following the ball and that's where she's best, is just in a beast mode, just
Yeah, as the
finding
player
it
to the left.
and moving. Yes, just keep
Yep.
following the ball. And if it gets by her the first time, then fade back and join Matrka. But right now, I feel like she's like a caged lioness, just waiting to get like released, because she has so much that she could be adding, but she's unable to.
And that's a great point, Denise. You know, people watch this and are like, oh, I thought Halbauer was a stronger player. Well, she is a stronger player. But Hanish and Zubori are not feeding her the ball.
No.
They're not giving her anything.
And we notice this formation again. Zubori's up. Hanish is just there to clean up.
Yep.
Ready.
This is where we need Matrka just try to maybe chip that ball down the line on Zubori. Just stretch her out. She did miss a volley game or two ago on that wide ball. And that's probably what she's got to do. I don't think the lobbing is impacting Zubori. I think she's got to try to make her move from side to side versus the up and back. See, there's it down the line.
Yep.
Zubori just let it go.
Yeah, see, this is the ball I would let, yes, like stay, follow it. And
See,
by her following
yeah.
that ball to the due side, it would have placed her in the overhead position. And I think she probably would have hit a roller on the next ball and they would have stayed up at the net. And now she's in, for the moment, they would have been in control. I think it's, one thing, Patty, I think is overlooked is we meaning when you're playing the match as a competitor, and I mean, you're a legend in the game. You think a lot about what your opponents are doing, and really sometimes the equal spotlight should be what are our strengths and how can we position ourselves to bring that, because I don't see them positioning themselves to bring Halbauer's strengths more into the spotlight in this match.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, Denise, if you're not a team who plays regularly, it's kind of hard to have the chalk talks during a match and change something like that, because they're just not, I mean, they're comfortable playing with each other. They've played a lot of practice matches. They play, you know, like we said, they play in the men's league since they can do it all, but, you know, the tactics, making those tactical adjustments is a hard thing if you are a new team together in competition.
Yeah, very true.
So Hanish Zubori putting on a clinic here. This is what I expected of them. First tournament of the year. They're both playing competitive padel, doing a great job with it. And, you know, their first love, though, is platform tennis, and they love it out here. And we'll see. I would expect to see them at the top of the game throughout the course of the season, regardless of how much padel they also play.
Halbauer's a pro at the Kenwood Club in Cincinnati, Ohio. I know they love her dearly there. And a funny small world, one of the owners of Kawaga, Bobby Fischer, is actually a member at Kenwood and takes lessons from Ellie Halbauer. So it's like there's lots of different connections. It's a small community.
Yeah. And you just see Halbauer right there. She held. And I'm thrilled because that's what they have to do. They just have to, like, take care of their own service games. And now, like, this is going to be a crucial game for them to try to come up with, you know, a break on the Zubori serving game here. Zubori has been broken twice in this match already, so everything is possible.
I love it. I love your positivity, Patty. It's very true. It's very true.
Thank you, Denise.
For viewers out there who want to continue watching or keeping literally point-to-point updates on matches, you can log into courtdirector.com. It's a phenomenal app that you literally every single point in the matches going on in Charities, you will be able to, in the main draws, find and follow. So thank you so much for Court Director. It's a great point. Zubori serving, Matrka returning. That's a better lob. I like that. Just getting 1 foot beyond the service line significantly lessens the impact of that overhead. They're just not able to hit that. You know, they just can't hurt you as much with the overhead. Bottom line.
So this lob has to come up the line. This is where they've got to get Hanish hitting some of these overheads right here for Matrka.
Yep. But they're so disciplined, Patty. Some teams would be tempted, like Hanish, to fade a little left to take some of those overheads, and she's not biting on any of it. So that's it. This is actually a fun kind of rule to think about. Something fell out of Matrka's pocket. It fell on the ground. Matrka and Halbauer are not able to call let on that, but Zubori and Hanish did because it bothered them. So now they're replaying the point.
So here we have Hanish in the position to the left of the two players from our camera view. We see the back of them. Oh, and we got the switch on the baseline. That's what we needed to see out of Halbauer Matrka, Denise.
I like it.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll take Zubori to switch back and take over the left.
Yeah.
She's done it. She was like, all right, that's enough, Flora. You got to hit 2. I'm going back in that position.
Trying to go for too much. Patty, there's an update on the men's draw. The men's round of 16 has officially been moved up till noon today due to impending weather coming later on. So for viewers who want to check out the men's 16 action, it has been changed to noon. It's just such a tough ball. But notice, Patty, where Zubori was hitting that ball right in the middle of the service box. She has the time to plant, to get set, and she has the angle to hit 2, all of which, most of the time, you're going to be on the losing end of that overhead. Just too good. It's a great return, mixing up that down the line.
Right here. Yeah, I love the down the line return to keep everybody honest.
Yes.
You don't do it for a while, and you can catch that player off guard, even a player as good as Flora Hanish.
Okay. See, I wish they would have stayed there. Matrka moved to her right to hit that ball, and then they switched back. So if Halbauer is going to be the typical drive stopper, so from our view with a player on the left at the net, she's got to get more active up there. She has to be a force, something that they know that if she gets a paddle on it, it's going to cause some problems for them. Shoulder high, let it fly, Patty.
That's right. Shout out to Rob Mitchell, Griffin Kramer, 2 of our biggest fans, enjoying the women's action here from Chicago Charities. That video of the kids from Junior Nationals, you might see Rob Mitchell and some of the kids from Canada. Rob is a pro up in Toronto, and he brings kids down to Junior Nationals and just makes it into such a special experience because of the enthusiasm of those kids. And he brings them down. It's a road trip for 3 days. They go into the city. Last year, I think they went to a Blue Jays game, maybe the Leafs were playing in the Garden. Maybe it was a hockey game I think they went to last year. But kudos to Rob, and he does a phenomenal job growing junior paddle up in Toronto.
So fun. It's got to be such a blast for those kids.
Oh, yeah, they have a great time.
All right, so that was a big game won by Halbauer and Matrka. Although they're down 2-4, that could have been 1-5, which feels very different.
Yep, and they held serve.
Yep.
then they broke serve. I mean, they were down 4-0, right? So, I mean, you never know. Now the belief could be back in them.
Yes, it's all about belief, Patty.
I believe in that statement.
I believe in you, Patty.
Oh, and I believe in you, Janice.
Thanks. I give so much love. So
All right,
much love.
Matrka serving again. That jump serve from tennis.
I love the immediate bail. These warm temperatures, there's no upside in staying up for that shot, especially when it's Zubori coming at you. It's like a great white. So let's see if they continue to get after that deuce side, which they are. Great rundown by Matrka. That appears like it didn't even phase her. That's a tough ball. But again, Zubori was hitting that ball in the front half of the service box. You're not going to come back from that. It's just tough.
So, Zubori,
Yes.
the winners are coming off her overhead, right?
Off of short
You know,
lobs. Yes.
You talk about the importance of the overhead. That's why I say every match. I always say every match comes down to volleying, and then every match, the team that can win gets some offensive shots. You know, that the variety in that overhead is really one of the few opportunities to hit outright winners against such world-class athletes as Matrka and Halbauer.
Okay, I like this combination of lobs right here. They're moving her nicely left to right, not trying to hit. There you go.
That's what I love. Yeah.
Halbauer needs to do that all day long.
From the ad court, I think.
Yes, from the ad. 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. She could swoop over and cover 80% of the court and really take a million balls. Like what Zubori is used, we're used to seeing her jump in front of Hanish to take a lot of those deck balls.
Yep. But her availability was preceded by 3 or 4 really good lobs, moving them left to right, keeping Zubori steadily on the service line so she's not in offensive territory to strike with her overheads. Hanish just gets her paddle set so early. Patty, it's
Yeah.
her feet never stop, to your point, and she's immediately gets it low. So if
Look
the
at that
ball, yes,
adjustment.
if the ball is a little bit in a different place than she's expecting, her paddle just makes a quick adjustment. But it's just low early.
Yeah. You just can't get enough people to keep their paddle down low,
I know.
like with an open face, because the more trouble you're in, you're going to be lobbing that ball anyway.
That's it. I like this formation with Halbauer. Yeah,
Yeah,
Matrka should have
really.
been up there. Halbauer is back. She's got to step up. It's a great, really great digs. Solid performance by Hanish on that point. As always, just being so steady, making really good choices, and looking for that leading ball where she is balanced and able to hit more of offensive shots. I like how Matrka's sliding right when they're going into Zubori's corner, giving Halbauer plenty of space to hit whatever angle she's capable of.
But this is what we want to see.
Yes.
Halbauer hitting a lot of overheads.
Yes.
And
Nice.
there it
That's
is.
that
Taking
volley,
control.
Patty. That's that.
Yep.
That's the volley. That is her bread and butter.
Yep.
It's just so good. Like her hands, her reactions, her read. She just need to continue to move forward on that. Because as a result,
And
the ball just comes back that much quicker, and it's very hard to navigate the next shot.
I think one of the things Hanish will take from that shot in particular is, you see in the moment of truth, is Halbauer going to go to her forehand or her backhand on a volley?
Yep.
She's going to go to her forehand. That's her strength.
Yes.
And I just think it's little things like that where you capitalize, you take that drive, and I would drive at Halbauer to her backhand Halbauer because she sets up in the middle and she wants a forehand. So sometimes hitting behind people can pay off. Gigantic hole point right here. Opportunity for Matrka and Halbauer.
I really like how they're setting up with Halbauer now on the right from our viewpoint. She's in the ad side at the baseline, and she's on the right side at the net, taking majority of the overheads. Again,
David
really,
Gelson's enjoying the action from Maine. He loves watching
nice.
Chicago Charities. And David used to feeling like Hanish is feeling out of the picture. Usually his partner, when he used to play paddle, would take over the net. Hi, David. I think I accurately conveyed your paddle past.
Nice.
Hate to let the secret out. David, one of our game supporters, done a tremendous amount for me throughout my career in helping to grow the game, whether it's juniors, team nationals, everything. He's been there every step of the way. Thank you, David.
Again, I like this, the really good. Moving Zubori steadily from left to right, basically along the service line. And it's working. Being very patient and intentional with their lobs. Really smart. I like it.
All right, points won. You see 56% by Hanish Zubori. Did you see that Federer graduation speech? That
Yes,
he gave
at Dartmouth.
How
Yes.
wasn't that amazing when
Yes.
he talked about one of the game's all-time greatest players, winningest players, and he in his matches, what did he win? 54% of the points that he played.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was that. I want to say 51 or 52, but either one, you would think it would be like 80 or something. No, just over half.
Yep. And Mike Raleigh was saying last weekend on the live stream, you know, if you think about it, club level players, if you can just figure out how to grab a couple of more points a set, that your level goes up. But you got to believe that you can grind, and it's going to reward you with the grind.
All right, let's see if Matrka Halbauer switch here at the net. I'm really hopeful that this is a new strategy and they're going to look for an opportunity.
And see, I think the difference if they had a little more experience, they would make the call. They wouldn't wait to see if it naturally kind of evolves as the point goes on.
Yep.
Because again, Zubori and Hanish, they're too good. You can't wait for that. Because if you don't seize control, they will.
Yeah.
30-15.
They need to look for opportunities to get Halbauer from our vantage point on the left and Matrka on the right. So whether it's switching at the baseline, because it's much harder to pick on the player on the deuce side. And then at the net, that would put Halbauer in the position to crank her rollers.
And that's just the ball that Hanish has to resist backing up and over right in front of Zubori. Zubori will handle that, and it's the perfect shot for Zubori to hit a slash.
Hanish serving, Matrka returning.
How about
Great
that shot
dig.
of the Glenview Club? What a beautiful setup here, Denise.
Wow.
Shout out to Mo Morrison, who's supported Chicago Charities and all the Chicago area events. Hey, Mo. But what a setup, and I'm glad to see that, that Big Ten is here, because they're going to need it this afternoon. Everyone's going to need it, Denise, unfortunately.
Yeah, we will. But you know what I love about Chicago Charities, Patty, and the fans here and the supporters, the paddle community here in Chicago, they'll still come out.
Exactly.
The refreshments will be flowing. That tent will be packed. And just everybody cheering on their favorite paddle pros, whether the local or from around the country. And just appreciating the incredible level of talent that they're witnessing. I can't tell you how often people will be like, it seems like a different game. Great get by Matrka. But just to,
Yeah, really.
for them
Yeah.
to be able
And I
to
like
see.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Wow. She just,
I love that she just took it at her, and you saw, Hanish backing off the net and her paddle going below the level of the net. She's got to keep her paddle up there. It's her shield. She can defend herself. But it was a phenomenal shot from Matrka. Hey, Denise, have you run into a Katie Trevoloni out there?
Katie Trevoloni.
Well, that's her maiden name. She's a cousin of mine's. Uh, Katie's a daughter of a cousin of mine, and moved to Chicago a couple of years ago. Had never played platform tennis really as a kid. Super into it, and
Aw.
I saw her out here 2 years ago at the Glenview Club. She had just moved to the area and was getting hooked, Denise.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, when you get the paddle bug, look out.
Oh yeah.
That's not a 7 to 10 day wait for that bug
No.
to pass through. It tends to stick.
Yeah, Katie had lived abroad, maybe in Hong Kong for a couple of years, and so came back to Chicago and was like, "What do you do out here all winter?" And everybody's, you look around, what everybody's doing out here all winter. They're playing platform tennis.
Yeah.
The biggest leagues in the country.
Okay, Halbauer serving. Down love 15. Was obviously a must-have game to stay alive here in the semifinal round in Chicago Charities Grand Prix. First one of the season.
Oh yeah, what's our next Grand Prix after this one, Denise?
The next one is in 2 weeks. The Aronoment tournament in Philly. And then, there's 5 total Grand Prix. After that, we have to wait till January 23rd to 25th for the Boston Open. And then February 7th and 8th is the Short Hills Grand Prix, followed by the Midwestern's Grand Prix at February 21st to 22nd.
And what's our next stop on the AP Tour, PTA Tour? Where are we flying to next weekend, Denise?
Cleveland Masters. They do such a
All right.
fantastic job there. It's such a fun tournament. And then after Aronoment, we've got the Long Island invite, and then December 6th is the Rocky Mountain Throwdown. And first of all, I just love the name of that. I want swag from that tournament. It just sounds like a blast.
Oh, yeah. Matt Puig is running that. Matt is a transplant from the East Coast and playing in the Charities this weekend. And he's running that event, which will be live streaming actually 2 tour events that weekend,
So fun.
including the one out of Arapahoe.
So, and that rounds out 2025. And then we'll jump back in January 3rd and 4th to the Fairfield Open in Connecticut.
Run by world #1 women's player, Macy Elliott.
Awesome. All right, this is match point here. Patty.
All right, they're freezing out at Halbauer. It continues.
I love hearing the early calls. The communication is so important.
And we have Halbauer handling the overheads as the player to the
Okay.
left. That's what we wanted to see
Really
earlier.
good. Yes.
And they're back to deuce.
All right. I love it. That was a clutch point by Halbauer and Matrka.
Another good return of serve.
Such a good return by Hanish.
Yeah, Hanish had that deuce court.
She's just
First return of
stepping
today,
in.
she sent the message, Denise.
Yep. And she hasn't looked back. Wow. Wow.
Zubori was
Great ball.
debating, okay, if I lift my right foot, can I hit a tweener if this
Mm-hmm.
ball comes out from the corner? But it didn't. The ball went a little bit to the side.
And you know what?
And
I
I'm
would
like-
say that's ridiculous. Other than with Zubori, I'd be like, yeah, she could probably do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Halbauer's going to want that serve back. That's all right. At that moment, I would be saying, we didn't need that. Here we go, this point. We just need to let that go.
That's right. We had 1 to spare.
Yeah, you just need to, that's because if you hold on to it, that's weight, that'll affect the next point. Okay. This is an I believe point, Patty. I like how Matrka stayed up there.
Yeah, but I was surprised Ellie didn't go up to the net on that.
Right, yes. Yeah, she waited one. But again, I like their formation. Okay,
my
there you
Lord.
go.
Halbauer, Matrka, Hanish, Zubori lead 5-4.
So Denise,
Yes.
this is the thing about Halbauer. When she hits those swinging,
Yeah.
are they a swinging volley? They're a swinging volley, but they started out as an overhead, and a lot of people would reach up for those balls. Ellie lets that ball drop forever, and then just unwinds. And you saw that board hit the snowboard, almost impossible to return. That's why we want to see more Haballer as the player to the left for her team at the net.
100%. The degree of difficulty required, we saw it yesterday in the quarterfinal match. When she would come in, it's almost like an approach shot swinging volley. She lets it drop below the level of the net. She has so much rotation on the ball that the ball not only stays in, but just it's an incredibly difficult shot, and I don't know anybody that is able to do that other than her. Because I honestly have not seen her miss one. Sometimes you're like, okay, every squirrel can find a nut type thing, but it's not a fluke that she has that shot, and she needs to continue to use it and to be offensive.
All right, 15-all on the Zubori serve. Matrka had to get a little satisfaction with that body shot. Took advantage of a very short volley and just crushed it, hit it on the player's right side.
Yep.
Unreturnable.
Just where I'd love to see again Halbauer Matrka switch when they find on a deep lob, a nice height, just to do a nice casual switch to give them a different look.
I think that's a great point. It's to give Hanish and Zubori a different look. Sometimes when a team's firing on all cylinders and they're really comfortable, just switching in the middle of a point on a shot can kind of cause a little bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
30-15.
Tough ball. Snuck it into Halbauer's corner there in that deuce court.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. Halbauer wants to come over and try to help as much as possible, but then she needs to slide back to her corner once she sees a short lob coming from Hanish, because now Hanish has the angle to pop it and to create some problems on the deuce side. There's that switch. I like it. They're still trying to find Matrka, but it's just harder to cover over there. Almost.
All right, so 2 match points here for Zubori and Hanish. Up 6-2, 5-4, 40-15.
I love Zubori and Hanish just pumping each other up. They're saying, let's go. We gave away some match points before. We're not going to give away these away. Wow. And Ellie just steps in and silences
Great rip, I
that.
think. Yeah. Did Zubori think she faulted? That's a good
Possibly.
lesson there. I think she thought the ball was going out, and she kind of hesitated.
Mm-hmm.
Keep moving until your opponents call the ball out.
Yep. Love the switch. See, that ball coming from the deuce side inherently creates a little more uncertainty.
Because it's a backhand overhead unless you move way over to cover it. Where a ball coming out of the ad court naturally moves to a player's forehand if you have 2 righties.
That's it, Matrka getting right under that ball. Okay, look at that pressure drive from Halbauer finishing at the service line.
Yeah, Matrka, to her credit, threw up 2 balls that had a little more hang time on her lob, and that kind of gave Ellie a little time, kind of see the play developing, and she knew, she was ready to pounce at the perfect time.
Good take by Matrka. Waiting for the right ball. That one led her into the court. Didn't try to overhit it. Very smart choice. And I'd love to see Halbauer and Matrka switch at the net again so that Halbauer gets some more looks with her roller. Great volleys. It's a beautiful screen drive by Hanish. Just so, it's like butter. It's so smooth.
That's right.
All right.
See, that's kind of what Matrka had to do. Get the ball up the line. We've been saying that during this match, but it's so hard to do. Off that heavy spin from the Zubori overhead. Match point.
4th match point.
That's a great lob.
So good. A little switch at the baseline. Oh gosh.
You wanted Halbauer to tee off on that ball, Denise, don't you think?
Yes. Well, what a great match. I feel like that second set was completely different than the first set. Halbauer, Matrka made some really good adjustments there. At the end of the day, it came up a little short, but started switching, allowing Halbauer to take more overheads. Yeah, but I love the adjustments that they made. But, at the end of the day, Zubori and Hanish are just so solid and make very few decision-based errors. They are just so consistent and just know each other's every move and defer to the team always. So hats off to Zubori and Hanish moving into the finals.
Yeah, great to see Hanish and Zubori back on the scene. They are a wonderful team to watch, and kudos to Halbauer, Matrka. They played a pretty good match, but they came up against one of the game's best there. And, that teamwork that Zubori Hanish, just makes them such a formidable opponent. And we'll see them in the finals later. We're going to wrap it up here from the women's semifinal action, but stay tuned. We've got matches all day long. Coming up, men's round of 16. Thanks, Coach Murphy.
Thanks so much, Patty. A pleasure.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.